Welcome to Travel Tales, a mini-series within Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way podcast. I'm your host, Bailey Raber, here to travel the world with you. In each episode, you'll hear firsthand how my travel experiences have gone, both within the United States and abroad. Together, we'll discover new cultures, learn about a variety of new places for you to go out and explore, bring light to how I navigate my bipolar disorder while traveling, and, most importantly, we'll have fun. You'll leave each episode stocked full of exciting new ideas, interesting information, and feeling like it's time to hop on a plane. So come on, friends, let's start exploring. Hello, friends. My voice is a little funky right now. I hope you guys don't notice. I can notice it. Unfortunately, we all know ourselves better than anybody else. Let's go ahead and move into day 3 of my trip to India. My first trip, I should say. So, just a fair warning, this is going to be a kind of a long episode. I'm going to do my best to, keep it as short as possible, but this is 5 pages. Literally all 5 pages when I printed out the blog post, and this is not double-spaced. This is only the paragraphs. This does not include any of the images that are part of it. Literally, this makes sense why so many of y'all didn't actually check out this blog article I wrote. It's really, really long, but that's okay because I'm going to tell you the story with all of my personality and all the fun mixed in with some commentaries and side notes. So let's dive in. We woke up fairly early, and as we were starting to get up, we got a call from Monish's dad, Molish, who told us that they were filming part of a Bollywood movie outside of our hotel in Delhi. This was very exciting for all of us, so we immediately threw on some clothing and rushed down to the hotel lobby. By the time we got there, all of the big, well-known actors were gone, which was a bummer. We did get to witness the camera crew shooting a driving scene, though. That was pretty neat. Monish, having worked in the Bollywood film industry before, went on to tell me that they try to film in popular areas when people are sleeping so as not to disturb the filming. So, fun fact, I actually do have some favorite Bollywood stars because I watch a ton of Bollywood movies with Moni. Some of my favorites are Queen. I put myself on the spot and I can't even give you an answer. Ye Giovanni, Hey Devani? Ye Giovanni, Hey Devani. I think I said that one right. I hope I did. That's one of my favorites. And there's one other that I cannot think of right now that will probably come to me as soon as I hit stop on this recording. But my favorite actors are Alia Bhatt. I love Ranbir Kapoor. He's great. And of course, Shah Rukh Khan, and that's because of Moni. So getting down there and seeing that none of the actors that I could have possibly have known were there really sucked. Because I was excited. I was like, oh my God, am I going to get to see a Bollywood actor? Like, how cool would that be, right? So I did not mention this at the beginning, but this is day 3 of the trip, which I have titled Exploring New Delhi. If you remember from last Travel Tales episode, we had flown to Delhi. I met Monish's parents for the first time, and we were at a 5-star hotel in New Delhi. And this is where the scene is set the next day. So here we are. So at this point, it was about 7 in the morning, and since we were all up and outside, we decided to take a walk as a family. The Central Park of Delhi was located right outside of our hotel, and it had a circular drive all around the outside of it. As we walked around the paved circle drive, I took in all of the sights, smells, and sounds of the capital of India. I find it incredibly beautiful how this country coexists with nature, and I loved getting to see all kinds of colorful plants and free-roaming animals everywhere, even within this massive metropolitan city. Once we finished our walk, Moni and I made it back up to our room to officially get dressed for the day. I chose to wear one of my new kurtis, which I purchased on day 1, exploring Mumbai. And I did this as I did not enjoy how many of the men in Delhi were staring at me in my Western clothing the day before. So a side note on that, the men in Delhi tend to be a bit more aggressive. They're a lot more, patriarchal. I'm going to say that word completely wrong. I'm going to skip it. But basically, it's more of a like male dominated society in that part of India, specifically in Delhi. And unfortunately, women aren't viewed as they are in the United States in that part of Delhi. Or excuse me, in that part of India in Delhi. So the men there's a term that they use called they are undressing you with their eyes. And that's how I felt. I didn't feel that way when we were in Mumbai, but that's how I felt in Delhi the day before. And I did not enjoy that. I'm top heavy. Let's be real here. I'm top heavy and I'm a white girl and I'm a redhead. So there's a bunch of reasons why people would be staring at me. But the looks that they were giving me were just, it was creepy. It was very rapey. It was not fun. So the kurti I wore, that's a traditional outfit that is completely covered from like ankle to wrist, basically. Very free-flowing, very loose pants and a top. So everything was completely covered up, and it didn't look like, it just looked different than the clothes I wore the day before. In a good way for me. It was very modest, and I liked this. I got way less creepy stares. I still got stares. I get stared at the entire time I'm in India. I'm used to that by now. But yeah. So as soon as Moni and I were both finished getting showered and dressed, we made our way back down to the hotel lobby to meet up with Mom and Dad. We all hopped into our car and made our way over to the Jandawalan Hanuman Temple. I think I pronounced the first one right. Possibly could have got it wrong, but Hanuman, I do know that one, which this is Delhi's most iconic Hindu temple. I was super, super excited about this. I had told Mom and Dad the day before that I wanted to go to this temple, and they made sure that we incorporated it into our short time in Delhi, which was super thoughtful of them. Which, Molish and Hema, if you're listening right now, Mom and Dad, thank you again for that. I really, really, really enjoyed it, so I appreciate y'all going out of your way for me. So when we arrived at the temple, the driver dropped off myself, Moni, and Dad outside the front entrance for us to go explore. Mom chose to stay in the car with the driver as she was wearing shoes that weren't easy to remove. And speaking of shoes, before we could enter the temple, we were required to remove our shoes and place them on a shoe rack that was separated by gender. So once we removed our shoes, we were officially ready to enter the temple, and my excitement began to increase significantly. We made our way up the steps, and as we walked through the entrance, which was shaped like the mouth of Rakshasa, which I paused for a long time because I had to think about it, and I probably pronounced that wrong. But Rakshasa is a demon in Hindu mythology. So as soon as we walked through the mouth of this creature, my eyes became filled with wonder and grand curiosity. I was in awe that I was finally entering a temple in India, especially one so iconic. As we made our way through the narrow hallways of the temple, we found many different colorful idols as well as art forms which depicted stories from the Hindu epics. Dad briefly explained some of the stories to us, which I plan to learn more about via the Hindu books that I bought days before in Mumbai. As we walked through the temple, we came upon a doorway to a staircase that led us downward via a tunnel. At the end of the staircase was a priest who sat among many more idols and Hindu art forms. He was very kind and performed a small puja for us, which a puja is like a prayer ceremony, you guys. At this point, we all noticed that the ground we were standing on was wet. The priest informed us that it was groundwater that we were standing in, as this was a man-made cave which was built as part of the architecture for the temple. On our way out of the temple, we had to walk through a different tunnel, which was so small that we had to bend in half to walk through it. That was wild, y'all. I had no idea we were going to do this. And it's kind of a good thing that Mom stayed back in the car, because with her back and everything, I'm not sure that she would be able to comfortably walk through. It was a long tunnel. There's actually a video of it on my YouTube that I'm pretty positive I embedded into this link, which you can find all of this just by clicking in the episode notes below. But yeah, the tunnel was interesting. Like, I was not expecting that. It was cool down there though, and covered in water. It was cool. Cool temperature-wise and cool description-wise. I don't know, whatever. At the end of the tunnel was a staircase that allowed us to exit the temple via the mouth of a different Rakshasa. different mythological creature. The entire experience was incredible and furthered my curiosity of Hinduism. Also, fun fact, while the priest was performing the puja, Moni tried recording it, and the priest literally stopped and was like, "Put the phone away." It was so funny. I laughed so hard, and I made fun of him later. I was like, "You of all people should know." And he was like, "Well, I wanted to record it for you." And it was really sweet because he was just trying to capture me and all the things I was experiencing in India. So it was really, really sweet. But it was funny because that priest stopped and was like, "Put that shit away." Looking for a way to support Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way and your favorite podcast host, but unsure how? Well, friends, you can head on over to my Etsy shop, Bailey's Way Designs, to purchase an item handmade by yours truly. In my shop, you'll find cute and useful travel accessories, the comfiest workout headbands you've ever worn, adorable pet accessories, graphic t-shirts, and more. All of the proceeds from Bailey's Way Designs goes directly towards funding my college education, where I'm currently expanding my knowledge of fashion design. You can receive 15% off your first order of $35 or more by going to baileyswaydesigns.etsy.com and use code NEWCUSTOMER15. That's NEWCUSTOMER15. The link to my shop can also be found in the episode description and the show notes. Y'all, I truly appreciate all of your support, and I can't wait to hand pack and ship the items that you purchase from me. Once again, go to baileyswaydesigns.etsy.com and use code NEWCUSTOMER15 to receive 15% off your first purchase. Next, the driver began to drive us around the political district. So Delhi is comparable to Washington, D.C., as it is the capital of their nation, India, obviously. And this area was filled with all of the consulates, political buildings, and also the residences of the prime minister and the president. Because, another fun fact, India has both. They have a prime minister and a president. Do not ask me anything about Indian politics. I know jack shit. I know nothing. I still am not sure why they have both. Google it. So while we weren't able to go inside or get even up close to any of these political buildings, it was still pretty cool to see this area and how the political district is set up within a different country. As we continued on our drive, we came upon India Gate, which is a very famous monument in New Delhi, but unfortunately it was under construction, so we were only able to see it from a distance. So India Gate is a monument that is similar in shape and size to the Arc de Triomphe, which is found in Paris, which I've also seen, so how funny. But this monument was built in 1921 as a commemoration to all of the British and Indian soldiers who fought in World War I. For those of you who may not know much about India's history, the British ruled over India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, which it used to be one entire country, all three of those. It was Hindustan. And the British ruled over Hindustan from 1858 to 1947. So you can learn more about the British rule, also called the British Crown Rule, by reading an article that I have linked within this article. But what was interesting is in 1947, when India won their independence, that's when Pakistan decided they wanted to be their own country, and they're a Muslim country. India stayed their own country, which is a Hindu country, and then Bangladesh went off and did their own thing too. And there might have been more separation besides those three, but those are the big ones that I'm well aware of, and that 1947 Independence Day. And it was shocking when I found out via a movie we watched on Amazon Prime years ago that all three of these countries used to be one. I had no idea that India used to be part of Hindustan until 1947, which is not even 100 years ago. They didn't teach us any of this growing up, or if they did, I did not pay attention, either one. So apologies to any of my history teachers who are sitting there groaning like, bitch, I taught you this. What's wrong with you? So although we couldn't get up close to this monument, we did stop for a few photos and for Mom and Dad to explain some of its history to me. So I'm really fascinated by history, even though just ignore what I just said about not remembering stuff from when I was younger. That doesn't count. So from here, we made our way back to the hotel to enjoy one of the most elaborate breakfast buffets I'd ever seen. There were all kinds of options available: Indian dishes, fruits, oats, sweets, you name it. They even cooked up a fresh plate of vegetarian eggs Benedict for me via my request, which was so amazing because I hadn't had eggs Benedict since before I was vegetarian. So that was so great. One of the perks of traveling throughout a country whose population is about 30 to 40% vegetarian is that it is super easy to find delicious vegetarian options for just about anything. I ate fresh papaya for the first time, and I also enjoyed a lovely cup of chai. Breakfast was to die for, y'all, and this was the first of my 2 elaborate breakfast buffets on this trip, which you'll hear more about the other one soon. Yeah, 5-star hotels. I had never stayed in a 5-star hotel until I'd stayed at this one, and it was fucking incredible, y'all. It was incredible. I mean, granted, 5-star hotels in the US are so expensive. I can't imagine myself staying at one that I actually paid for more than one day specifically. But in India, everything is so much cheaper because it's by rupees, and the currency is just not as strong as the US is. And so our dollar goes farther, and we were able to easily afford 5-star hotels. It was great. After breakfast, Moni and Dad took off to the visa application center so that Moni could drop off his documents in order to get his H-1B visa stamped. This important stop was the entire reason that we all made our way over to Delhi. So while they were gone, I sat with Mom in her room and we chatted for a while, which this was really nice. I got to just sit and chat with her and kind of one-on-one and bond with her. It was the first time we got to do that, and it's really special. I'll never forget it. We were looking out the window. I was people watching a lot, asking a shit ton of questions like I do. So during this time, Tanvi and Jigar, which is Monish's sister and brother-in-law, arrived in Delhi via a flight from Mumbai. So as soon as they arrived at the hotel, they immediately wanted to leave to go enjoy some nearby street food. I chose to tag along as I love walking around, sightseeing, and people watching, although I knew I could not indulge in any of the street food. So as someone who grew up in the United States, my stomach is unfortunately not equipped to handle street food, nor any water that does not come from a sealed bottle, among other things. So I have an article where you can read more about that too if you want, but that's all I'm going to say right now because I got a lot more to cover in the next couple of minutes. So once the entire family made it back to the hotel and we were all finally together for once, for the first time ever actually, we grabbed some sweets from Wingers, which is a very well-known sweet shop right up the street that Tanvi wanted to stop at. And then we also stopped for a McSpicy paneer sandwich from McDonald's before we began a 4-hour-long car ride to Agra. So if you don't know what's in Agra, I wish I have a postcard right over there. It's too far to reach. Damn. But Agra is the home of the Taj Mahal. So yeah, that's where we're headed next if you didn't already know or if you weren't already guessing. So while I was not excited for this long car ride, I was extremely excited to finally be making our way towards the city that houses the Taj Mahal, which has been on my bucket list for as long as I can remember. So the drive was super bumpy at times, but I was very happy to be out on a highway where the cars were moving so much faster versus sitting in the car in the crowded city traffic. Like that was super, super nice break. So the driver who picked us up from the airport the day before was still with us, and he drove us to and from Agra. So he drove us from our hotel in Delhi to Agra, around Agra, back to Delhi. It was wild. So I was super fascinated by these luxury services. Like I asked, I was like, where's the driver staying? And Monish was like, oh, he's staying at a different hotel. Because we were at, a 5-star hotel. And I was like, can he afford this? And Moni's like, no. He drops us off and goes and stays somewhere cheaper down the street that he can afford. And I'm like, wow, this is wild. I feel like a rich person and I'm definitely not one. So halfway to Agra, we stopped at a rest stop to use the restroom. So here, I stumbled upon my first restroom moment where there was no toilet in the stall, but instead just a hole in the ground. So most foreigners tend to be freaked out by these type of toilets, but I actually love using these toilets, you guys, because I typically don't sit on toilet seats anyways, at least specifically public ones, which if that's TMI, sorry, not sorry. So not having to squat over a actual toilet and just squatting over a hole in the ground, y'all, so much easier. So much easier. So if you're a squatter, when you use public restrooms and you're traveling through India, look for these toilets. I'm telling you, they are going to be your new best friend. So besides the opportunity to use the restroom, this rest stop contained food stalls, shaded areas to sit down, and even some cots where you could lie down and take a quick nap. The cots blew my mind. They're just like laying out, and I was like, what are these for? And Monish's dad was like, so you can take a nap. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. Because a lot of times when you're traveling, especially in between large cities in India, you guys are cramming as many people as you can into the car. Like we had 7 people in our car. Every single seat was filled. It was fucking squished. And because of that, we, if we needed to take a nap, that would have been a great place to do it. But they were literally in the sun, not in the shade. So like, why would I sleep in the sun? Anyways. So 2 more hours of driving later, we finally reached our 5-star hotel in Agra, the ITC Mughal Hotel. Before entering, we had to be waved down with a metal detector wand, allow our bags to go through the detectors that were similar to those found in the airport security checks. It was weird. It felt like airport security to go into a 5-star hotel, y'all. It felt wild. But, now that I think about it, that probably has a lot to do with the Taj Hotel. I think it's called the Taj Mahal Hotel incident. It was a terrorist attack that happened in Mumbai at a hotel called the Taj Mahal Hotel, which happened, I believe, in 2006. So I'm not going to cover more of that until later. I'm literally going to talk about this a couple episodes from now, so stay tuned for that. But that is probably why there was all of this security, because of that terrorist attack that happened at a hotel. Wow, look at me connecting dots. If I'm wrong, don't tell me. Just let me think I'm right, please. So once we were allowed to enter the hotel, we walked down a pathway with beautiful gardens on either side and fountains and just the sound. It just felt so luxurious. So at the end of the pathway, we were led straight to the lobby entrance. Upon entering the hotel lobby, my eyes became filled with wonder at the beauty and magnificence of the lobby. Everything just seemed to be made out of marble, while the decor was just so elegant and fancy. It just felt magical, you guys, magical. So after checking in, we dropped off our bags into our rooms and then immediately made our way to the rooftop terrace. So on the terrace, we were able to view the Taj Mahal in the distance as the hotel was very close to it. We found a little seating area to sit down and enjoy both the beautiful view and each other's company. While sitting atop the terrace, which, side note, a terrace just means like rooftop. So like if you think of like a rooftop patio, that's what a terrace is. They call them terraces in India. So while sitting on the terrace, it became time for the Muslim call to prayer to begin, and the majestic sound from a nearby mosque filled the air. It was so surreal to be sitting on a rooftop, gazing at the Taj Mahal in the distance, and hear the call to prayer begin. It felt as if all of my dreams were now coming true, as I would be visiting the Taj Mahal the very next day. Cue the ridiculous excitement. The sun was now beginning to set, and it was time for everybody to grab some dinner. The family wanted to go eat chaat, which is a type of street food from a very famous area in Agra known for having flavorful chaat. Once again, I did not want to risk upsetting my stomach, especially since we would be driving more again the next day. So Moni and I chose to have dinner in one of the hotel's restaurants, while the rest of the family went out for chaat. We took advantage of our dinner alone together and labeled it our date night, and it was definitely the most extravagant date night he's ever taken me on. Wink, wink. Moni chose which of the restaurants for us to eat at, and once we'd been seated, I noticed that the people at the table next to us were wearing maroon and white plaid aprons. They were more gingham than plaid, y'all. Gingham plaid aprons that had the restaurant's logo embroidered on it. I also noticed that we had the same aprons folded up in front of us on the table and that there wasn't any silverware. I let Monish do the ordering as he knows Indian food best, and afterwards, the server confirmed with us that we are vegetarian. I thought he was just doing that to be nice, but then he took away our aprons and returned with some green and white gingham check plaid aprons for us instead. When I asked why, he informed us that we are given green aprons to alert the staff that we are vegetarian. This ensures that no one accidentally drops off a dish containing meat at our table. So at this point, the server also brought up the fact that they don't provide silverware and asked if that was something I was okay with. He specifically looked at me and asked, y'all, and I knew it was because I was a white girl. That's why he was asking. So I chuckled and I assured him that I had no issues pertaining to eating with my hands, knowing that this might be a no-go for many other foreigners. Yeah, so the apron thing was really cool. I actually loved that. It just gave me just a sense of like, okay, I'm not going to accidentally end up eating chicken here. You know, here's my curious cat coming out. I literally was like, why did you give us these? Like, why did you take those away? I have no problem confronting strangers and asking questions, clearly. Yeah. But I also thought it was really funny that, you know, he looks directly at me and asks that because one of my favorite sayings in Hindi that I love to say all the time is "Main dil se Bharatiya hoon," which means I'm Indian at heart, because I really am in so many ways. And the eating with your hands, y'all, like a lot of times I prefer to eat with my hands because it's easier and I'm less likely to drop things on me. I drop things on me all the time with forks and spoons, but with my hands, it's less likely. But a lot of Indian food you do eat with your hands, and I've never had a problem with that. So, main dil se Bharatiya hoon. So our meal was phenomenal, and I was very proud of us for not allowing our, quote, eyes to be bigger than our stomachs, and we ended up ordering only the perfect amount of food, which never happens. Moni actually wanted to order one other thing, and I was like, no, let's see where this goes first, and then we'll see if we have more room. So here I tried rumali rotis for the first time, and what's significant about this type of roti is that the rumali roti is soft and very thin, like a handkerchief, meaning that they are not easy to make. So at home, Monish and I mainly eat a different type of roti called chapati, so this was a real treat for us to get to try the rumali rotis. So after dinner, we spent some time walking around the hotel courtyards as I wanted to do some exploring and I don't like sitting still. As we walked up some brick steps towards the garden, I immediately saw a monkey laying face down on the ground, completely stiff and not moving. It was fucking weird, guys. I was like, what is going on? I literally thought it was dead, but Moni quickly yelled at me saying, "Don't go near it!" To which I responded, "Why not? It's dead." And this is the moment where I learned that not only was I completely wrong about the monkey being dead, but also that monkeys do not have night vision and therefore cannot see in the dark. Wow. Random fun fact for you. I hope you win some trivia because you know this now. You are welcome. Yeah, this whole experience, you guys, like, of course, I immediately start walking towards the monkey. That's why Moni yelled at me. It was like, don't go near it. And I'm like, but it's dead. Who cares? Let me go. Like, I'm not going to touch a dead monkey, but I want to get up close to a dead monkey. But I later learned from Moni's mom that once it becomes nighttime, monkeys' vision just basically disappears because they don't have night vision. So therefore, when dusk begins to set in, all of the monkeys rush towards the trees where they sleep so that way they can safely snooze out of reach of any predators. Unfortunately, this little monkey didn't make it back to his safety spot before the darkness crept in, so he just laid face down on the ground and went to sleep, making it appear as if he is dead so as to keep predators away. Y'all, all of this newfound knowledge just blew my mind. I mean, when we were talking it over with Mom, she was like, well, why would you know this fact? And I was like, well, we have zoos. But yeah, you're right. Why would I know this? Why would I know anything so specific about monkeys when The only time I ever see them in the United States is in a zoo. In India, they are everywhere. Just wait, you guys. Just wait. There's so much more monkey talk coming. More monkey business coming your way. Just hang on tight. Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things where if you're around these specific animals all the time, you just know these things about them. Whereas when you're not around them, you don't know shit. So people in India probably know very little about, let's say, let me see if I can find an animal here. Wild hogs. They probably know nothing about wild hogs because I don't think they have wild hogs in India. If I'm wrong, please feel free to reach out and let me know. But maybe another animal would be raccoons. I don't know if they have raccoons in India, so they would know nothing about raccoons if they don't have them there, right? It's the same concept. All right, so the day is now coming to an end, but before heading off to bed, we all spent a little time with the family in Tanvi and Jigger's room. So all of those who drink were enjoying a beer together, while those of us who don't drink, being Mom and I, were just happy to enjoy the company. It felt so great to spend time with family where everybody gets along and enjoys spending time with each other. It was not like this within the family that I grew up in, so I was very happy to feel at home within my new family, Miranaya Pariwar. Soon, I became too tired to continue socializing and I went to bed. The next day had a big adventure awaiting, finally getting to explore the Taj Mahal. I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped to go over that story with you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed learning a bit more about India's history and the country and just all the random knowledge. I feel like I gave y'all a ton of random knowledge and I love that because I love knowing random things about things. I do. But India is not random for me. It might be random for you. And before we close for today, specifically for those of you on YouTube, I've got 2 things to show y'all. The first one is super boring. It is a magnet of India with the flag in the country. I say it's boring because compared to everything else I've already showed y'all and more that I will show y'all, this is pretty fucking boring. Another thing that I figured would be a good thing to show right now, since I visited the Hanuman temple in Delhi during this episode, is Krishna. So this right here is little Krishna. I say little Krishna. It is the Krishna god. It's a small little one. I mean, you can see it's like the size of my pointer finger. And this is one that when Moni and I first started dating, this was actually sitting on his nightstand and it just stayed there at all times. So fun fact about Hinduism, while there are hundreds of different gods, pretty much every family has one god that they focus on. And Monish's family focuses on Krishna. That's like his family's god. And that's the one they pay most attention to. And they go to his temples more often and his celebrations and all of that. And so Krishna now rests on the shelf over here with my Ganpati and Saraswati and all the other fun stuff I have. But this Moni brought from India. I don't even know how long he's had it. So this is from India. Haha. I just don't know from where specifically or when. But it was probably bought in Baroda. Oh, you guys can see where Krishna lives. Boom. Right up there. So, all right. Well, let's wrap up today. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed day 3, exploring New Delhi. And you guys stay tuned for the next episode, visiting the Taj Mahal. That's probably not the title of it, but that's what it's going to be about. I am so pumped to share that with y'all because that was a bucket list item that I got to check off. And I have a really big bucket list, but in terms of like big bucket list items, that was probably the first one I'd ever checked. Well, let me go back. That was the second one I ever checked off. The first one was traveling to Italy back in 2011. That was my first bucket list check off. This other one, number 2, being the Taj Mahal. So I'm so pumped. My voice will hopefully be 1,000% better by then because I'm going to bring all of the excitement and all of the energy, and I'm just so pumped. But until next time, y'all, take it easy, stay grateful, and be joyful. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Travel Tales. Head on over to whatishaybellsdoing.com/travel to find the resources mentioned in today's episode. You can watch this episode for free on YouTube, complete with a bonus slideshow of photos and videos from this trip. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating on your favorite listening platform or write a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on new episode releases. See you next time for another great adventure. Bye!